Good morning, Vande Matram. Welcome all of you. So the topic we are going to discuss right now is on total purity. That is the topic of discussion for this morning session. Total purity. Sometimes we think we are pure by taking bath in the river Ganges or going to the temple or taking bath in the Puri in the Bay of Bengal, Mahododhi. So we feel we are pure. But the thing is that something is there. At least it depends upon your consciousness. Something is being done. But thing is that total purity is a separate term. You have to think of the total purity. And the total purity, how Mother and Sri Aurobindo really explains, that we'll see here on total purity. First, we'll try to see what really Sri Aurobindo quotes on purity. Perfect purification is the basis of perfect siddhi. Two words are there, you can know sadhana and siddhi. Sadhana, the purpose of sadhana is siddhi. So but actually, for that actually purification is necessary for siddhi. Purification is the basis for siddhi. But Sri Aurobindo uses a single term. It is used as a prefix. So perfect purification is the basis of perfect siddhi. Again, Sri Aurobindo tries to explain. Purity is to accept no other influence but only the influence of the divine. So you can purify your body. How can you purify? That is on the other way. You are cleaning up your body with using soap, your body shampoo or something like this. Here you are purifying with the hair shampoo, and some many times you use something like your tamarind and something. Sometimes different types of oil and all, but that is not a purification. That is only cleaning in the course. Purity is to, but how can you, this external picture, external form, external body can be purified with the use of soap, shampoo like this? How can you be able to purify your soul? Soul is of course pure. How can you clean it? That is what. So purification of soul, that is the most important criteria to purify your entire being. So purity, your entire body. Purity is to accept no other influence but only the influence of the divine. With the influence of the divine, everything can be purified, everything will be influenced. Purity must be our aim. That is what. Purity must be our aim, but not the purity of a void or a, a bleak or a rigid coldness. But the purity must be the aim, objective. Your everything goal is the purity, but not the purity of a bird or a bleak or a rigid coldness. Against your in the course, the pure soul has an easier access to the divine. Pure soul, that's what. Purer soul, not purer, because soul is pure. A purer soul with the your sacrifice, your aspiration, your opening with the touch of the divine light, divine force, divine ananda, so that this purer soul has an easier access to the divine. Again, only the soul that is naked and unsaved. Soul is naked, soul is unsaved, because it is soul spark of the divine. So can be pure and innocent. Even as Adam was the primal garden of humanity. Adam and Eve, you have known. You must keep the temple clean if you wish to install there the living presence. That is what the purity. Keep the temple clean so that divine presence, you can install there the living presence of the divine supreme presence can be felt. If the blackboard is clear, nothing has been written, then the soul and the divine, they will come and try to write on it. Purification and calm are the first needs in this yoga. So far, this integral yoga is concerned, it is totally different from all and totally integrating all. where all the yogas end, their integral yoga starts. Yoga, it has combined entire yoga. So purification and calm, the first conditions in the yoga. So if you leave to it to God to purify, He will exhaust the evil in you subjectively. But thing is that we never allow Him to do. You must have a submission to the divine. You must surrender near the divine. And if you leave it to the God to purify, He will come and purify you. Then your chapter is closed. Your risk is over. You will exhaust the evil in you subjectively. But if you insist on guiding yourself, you will fall into the outward suffering. So keep everything ready, leave everything to the divine so that you will be in a perfect way. Purity is in thy soul, but for actions, where there are purity and impurity. So if you are abided by, guided by, driven by the soul, then this you can expect something that is pure. Anyway, the next step we are going to discuss something from the mother on total purity. One question was put to the mother, sweet mother, to be pure, to be pure. So this is the technically what a beautiful question. To be pure means what? Mother tries to explain. To be pure, what it is, what does it mean? Pure, you are asking. Is it the milk is pure, the quality is pure? What does it mean? One is truly perfectly pure only when the whole being, the entire being, whole being, all in its elements and all in its movements adheres fully, exclusively to the divine will. If it is there, these two are two conditions are satisfied, then in all your all its elements, all its movements adhere fully to the divine will. That is what. If these two things are done, then you are pure. But the thing is that we don't know what is divine will. We don't know. But the thing is that we feel we are pure. This is indeed a total purity. Mother has quoted it is indeed the total purity. I will quote it again. Perfectly pure only when the whole being in its elements and with all its movements adhere fully exclusively to the divine will. If it is there, then it is true purity. So that must be understood, and it does not depend upon the moral or social law. With any law, rule, regulation, it is not binding. No metal convention of any kind. So it does not actually depend upon that. Actually, So exclusively on this, when all the elements, all the movements of the being are exclusively and totally whatever adhere to the divine will, then only you can feel you are pure, and this is the condition of total purity. Anyway, next step is there. As soon as you speak of purity, sometimes we speak up, we challenge, we create, and we post up. Sometimes as soon as you speak of purity, a moral monument comes in front of you. Moral monument, this is the most tragic event in front of you, which completely falsifies your notion. So many ways people will try to contradict. So this is the condition, this is the criteria we can feel many times. And note that it is infinitely easier to be moral than from social point of view than moral from the spiritual point of view. Morality is good, but thing is that you can take care from social point of view. It is useful. No, it is actually easy to become completely falsifies and infinitely easy to become a moral man, to be moral, because moral they come and try to contradict. From social point of view it is easy, but from spiritual point of view it is difficult to be moral. From the social point of view, mother tries to clarify. From social point of view, is only to pay good attention, to do nothing which is not approved by others. which is not approved by others, that side you can remember. And from the attention, to pay good attention to nothing, and to which is not approved by others, maybe somewhat difficult, but still not possible. Most of the time this view you have kept before people, they don't appreciate, they don't accept, but think that it is true, it is very correct. So I said, monument of insincerity and impurity while doing this, whereas to be pure from the spiritual point of view means a vigilance, consciousness, sincerity that stands all the test. So for the spiritual point of view, three things are needed, and vigilance, consciousness, third is sincerity. So these are the three things, these are most essential from spiritual point of view. So moral from the social point of view, moral from the spiritual point of view, it varies. And then mother goes forward, I may put you on your guard against people who live in their vital consciousness. Most of the time we feel, even we are not also escaped that attitude and from the idea. So people who live in their vital consciousness, they say, I indeed am above moral laws, I follow higher law. These are the things you can find. Vital consciousness, people, most of the people say, they claim, I am indeed above moral laws, I follow higher law, I am free from all moral laws. These are the things usually the people say who are staying in the vital consciousness. If this type of words you are beholding, you are listening, then naturally you can feel these people are staying in the vital consciousness. The wordings are like this: I indeed am above moral laws. I am not bound by moral laws. I follow. Then what law you are following? I follow a higher law. Then third, you are free from all moral laws. That is what the vital conscious people are saying. And they say this because they want to indulge in all irregularity. All irregularity, the thing must be understood. Those people who are claiming like this, above moral laws, I am not accepting above moral laws, I follow higher law, I am free from all moral laws. These things, mother courts indulge in all irregularity. These people then have a double impurity. Not only it is mother course, they are having the double impurity. They have a spiritual impurity, and additional social impurity. Two things are there. You can also double impurity. You can remember mother course. Simply they don't know. They are unaware, they are not getting aware of this, so they claim that feel mother course, they are packed with a double impurity. One is your spiritual impurity, a second one is social impurity, and these usually have a good opinion on themselves, and they assert their wish to live their life with an unequaled impotence. Again, unequaled impedance, such people don't want. That is what, but such people we don't want. People are staying in ignorance, they don't want to change, they have their own person, they have their own ideology, they are totally indulged in this type of mechanical fuse. Mother course, they are in double impurity, I mean spiritual impurity, and the second one is moral social impurity. These usually have a good opinion of themselves, and they assert their wish to live in their life in an unequaled impudence. So these sort of people mother expels, disqualifies. They are that those we don't know. Then whom really we want? Yet usually the people whom I have found most different to convert, and very respectable people, most difficult to convert, and most respectable people. So I am sorry, but I have had much more difficulty with respectable people than the people who were not so. So sometimes we can feel some presentable, some respectable people in the society who are living in their own atmosphere, own arena, and difficult for me for to deal with these respectable people than with people who are not so respectable. For they had such a good opinion of themselves that it was impossible to open them. They are closed, self-oriented. They are closed, but the true thing is difficult. They don't open to the truth. They are confined. This is what. That is to say, one must be very vigilant and very self-control. Very vigilant, very self-control, very patient, and have never failing goodwill. That is what required. Most vigilant. One must be very vigilant, very self-controlled, very patient, and have a very never failing goodwill. One must not neglect having a small dose of humanity. Small dose of humanity, whatever they have, they must not actually avoid, or they must not neglect them. A sufficient one, and one must never be satisfied with the sincerity one has. One must always want more. That is what one must always try to be, never to be satisfied. That is what with their sincerity. And what then you have to do, one who has always to be want something more every day. Who people, that quotation we have remembered, we have recalled, people who feel I am satisfied, the next step is nothing for him except going to the graves. Who stops, one who stops aspiring, he begins to die. That is what, there is no other hope. For that actually, that the purity is required. That purity with respect to the soul, not to the outward circumstances. For that actually, I can repeat it. That those things you are very much familiar with these things. That purity, big terms Sri Aurobindo has tried to explain. Purification and calm are the first needs in the yoga. Perfection is the basis of perfect siddhi. Vande Mataram.